Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Good news. It seems that we've reached peak development. So much so that something that is devastating isn't an illness, isn't a pandemic, isn't a war, isn't food shortages, but instead is not having a gender-neutral option available on passports. Yep. Something that is superficial and really doesn't matter. You can get on with life just fine without your gender mattering at all. You can get through life, and if people misgender you, you might be a bit annoyed. Like, come on, I'm clearly a guy, but call me a woman, fine. Unless you're talking biological problems like prostate cancer or breast cancer, or things that are dependent on your XY chromosomes, then it really doesn't matter. But then that's sex, not gender. In which case, no, gender really doesn't matter. What matters is the kind of illnesses you could get, and if your doctor needs to know. So the same goes here when they say gender neutral. It's like, okay, if your doctor were to tell you you might have an inherited genetic disease, but it only affects the women, do you need to be tested? At that point, you'd either say yes or no, because you're either a man or a woman. And it's really that straightforward. That is where it matters when it comes to things that only affect men or only affect women in terms of biology. So when it comes to a gender-neutral option on a passport, who gives a shit? In your own personal life, it doesn't matter. When it comes to a legal requirement, then maybe they have some stipulations in place, which just seems to be that you wish for a smaller government, so there aren't those government regulations. Although, of course, it isn't, because you have no principle, and the ideal is to just get the government to do whatever it is they want them to do. So, Christy Alan Kane loses legal challenge over gender-neutral passports, getting to the topic in hand. A campaigner has lost a legal challenge against the government over gender-neutral passports. Christy Elaine Kane argued a policy preventing someone from obtaining a passport with an unspecified gender was unlawful on human rights grounds. I am pleased for him or her or them that they actually have enough time to worry about such things, and then a bit concerned that I think it's enough to say that it's unlawful on human rights grounds. What does human rights actually cover? It covers saying that you're going to be able to have access to food and water, and you're not going to be attacked or reprimanded on such unalienable characteristics. But gender neutral, that really doesn't matter. It isn't something that impedes day-to-day life. It's something that is a personal choice. These kinds of things don't matter. If you were to say, oh, you can't join this governmental club which you already pay for because no men are allowed, or only women are allowed, and you say, well, I'm gender neutral, therefore you're barring me, then fair enough, and that's because it's only allowing women, and it's a government-run organisation. If it's private, then they can do whatever they want, evidently. But then you've got a point. Or they only allow blacks or whites or Middle Eastern Arabs, yellows, reds, whatever. Then yes, fair enough. But otherwise, no, you've got nothing. So in a ruling on Tuesday, 3 senior judges dismissed the appeal, which was contested by the Home Office. Christy Elaine Kane described the decision as devastating, and here we are, yes, to suggest that it's devastating. To quote, "It is bad news for everyone who cannot obtain a passport without the requirement imposed by the UK government that they should collude in their own social invisibility," the campaigner said in a statement, suggesting that the most important thing for you, in terms of your social impact, is your gender. Yes, your character, as I've said before, your character is so unimportant, so unevolved, so baseless, that the most important thing about you is your gender. Can you imagine that? In, those stupid icebreakers that corporations make you do. Instead of saying, like, hi, I'm John, and I'm a almost professional squash player, you would then be saying, hi, I'm Christy, and I'm gender neutral. It's like, great. You haven't really told us anything about you, unless what you're trying to say is, I will force everybody to abide by my ideas of what gender means. In which case you should say that instead of that you're gender neutral. Just say, I take gender incredibly seriously and I will try and catch you out all the time. In which case say that, actually be honest. And then we'll understand that you're a cunt and just avoid you. And hey, there you are. Now you being honest, then you've colluded in your own social invisibility by showing us all that you're the cunt. So, well done, Christy. The appeal centred on the lawfulness of the government's current policy on gender-neutral passports. At the moment, UK passport holders have to indicate whether they are male or female. Fair enough, because that's what matters. And especially when you go into other countries that really don't recognise it. You're going like, going to Pakistan or Saudi Arabia going, I'm gender-neutral. It's like, you fucking what? Male or female? Come on. This, let's be honest. Yeah, let's be real. Or do we need to strip search you? That's not the UK's problem. Several other countries, including Canada, Australia, and Germany, now have a third option. Yes, Germany has the third option. Yes, whether it is right or not is up to you. Christy Lane Cain wanted passports to have an X category for those who do not identify as fully male nor female. But what if it's XX or XY? Come on, they should have, the boldy, the shiny, should have thought that through when they said X. It's like, we're clearly going to be thinking of chromosomes when you do that. Are you sure that's what you want to put? Not just a question mark category, an unsure, an uncertain category, undecided. The activist argued that the UK policy breached the right to respect for private life and the right not to be discriminated against on the basis of gender or sex under the European Convention on Human Rights. Well, yeah, but they don't care about that because, hey, no men allowed, that kind of thing, they don't give a shit. So that doesn't really mean anything. It's to protect the women's, not gender neutral or men. Don't try and weasel your way in there. They really don't care. But apparently private life is now the passport as well, the thing that you show everybody when you're moving country and is used for identification. Now that's private life. So delivering her judgment, Lady Justice King, said it was obvious and indeed beyond argument that the facts of the case concerned Christy Lane Cain's private life. My mistake then. There can be little more central to a citizen's private life than gender, whatever that gender may or may not be. So, does it need to be on a passport then? No one has suggested, nor could they, that the appellant has no right to live as a non-binary or more particularly as a non-gendered person. Agreed. Yes, they can choose whatever they want to do. But she went on to say that while this case was limited to the issue of passports, the driver for change is the broad notion of respect for gender identity. Lady Justice King added that she accepted that the passport issue cannot be reasonably be considered in isolation, so suggesting that it's a much broader thing and not just a passport issue. But the court ruled that the government's current policy did not amount to an unlawful breach of Christy Lane Cain's rights under human rights laws. So, seems to be a bit of a contradiction, suggesting that Lady Justice King says that, yes, it's a fine thing to say you can do whatever you want to do, but, as in you can choose your own gender, but then saying that, no, it's... So she's saying that it's fine to say that, yes, you can choose your own gender, that's your private life. A passport is then an intervention into private life, but it's fine to then not allow you to have an option for gender neutral. So it seems to be a bit of a contradiction in terms, but that's what she's decided. So the case was taken to the Court of Appeal after a judicial review action was dismissed by the High Court in June 2018, and Christy Lane Cain was refused permission to appeal to the Supreme Court by the Court of Appeal, but can still appeal directly to the Supreme Court to hear the case. And that was, of course, a Tony Blair innovation, so we'll have to see how that goes. But for now, hey, the UK is actually maintaining some sort of sanity. So, good news. And until next time, have a good one.